Right, here we go. Data migration from Magento 1 to Magento 2 in 15 minutes. Okay. It's going to be a roller coaster ride, okay? Sorry. Who am I? My name is Tadhg. I'm from Ireland. That's all you need to know for now, okay? I want to thank Mage Titans for letting me speak here today. This is my first ever time talking on stage about anything. Okay, so I'm very... That's good start. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to be here, and yeah, maybe there's somebody else out here who might, has never done this before. Well, I made the jump. I came to Mage Titans last year. It was my first time ever at a Magento developer conference. I came away inspired, and I said, I can do this. I want to come back next year and talk. So here we go. Right. Okay, who do I work for? I work for a company called Screen Pages. I've been with them about 10 years now. We're based just south of London, a nice place called Surrey, but it's incredibly expensive. Yeah, it's a cool place to work. Right, before I go any further, would you like to hear a funny story? Yes. Okay. This is the comedy store, okay? Right, stop the clock. Okay, here we go. Right, okay, if you like toilet humor, this is it, okay? Right, this is not my reflection of Magento 2, okay? This is a funny story, all right? Hello to all my Dutch friends out there, right? This is a traditional Dutch toilet, okay? A long time ago, I went to the Netherlands to visit my girlfriend's mother at the time, right? And everything was going well, but their house was full of these type of toilets, okay? Now this is a traditional Dutch toilet, right? So if we go examine it a bit closer, right, you kind of, if you have to do a poo, right, you have to poo on this kind of shelf area, and then it goes down the front, okay? Now, I was really, really uncomfortable with this. So, don't give it away. So, here's my toilet, right? So, I mean, okay, I have to go. So, I'm here, and I'm sitting on the toilet, so everything's fine, and then I go, no, I can't do this. In the UK, we want to get rid of our poo straight away. It has to disappear. I don't want to examine it before it goes away. Okay? So, I had a great idea. Why don't I turn around the other way? Okay? So, the trousers comes off. So here I am. So I'm this way. Okay? So I'm kind of hovering. Okay? And everything's going fine, so I'm aiming for the front. Except, I forgot to lock the door. Okay? So you can imagine the scene. Suddenly, the door swings open. It was my girlfriend's mother. Oh my God. Can you imagine what she saw? All she can see is this arse. Isn't that right, Ben? You've got the bird's eye view there. Okay, so she says, oh, I'm terribly sorry. And all I could say was, I'm fine. So later on that day, we had a quiet moment together, and I said, look, I'm really sorry about what you saw earlier on. And all she said was, Tadhg, shit happens. Right. Okay, clock back on. Right. There's a lot of slides here, there's a lot of text. I wanted to write down all my notes. I know Vinay said don't use bullet points. There's over 70 of them. Sorry, Vinay. But I want you to maybe, when this presentation goes online, it will read okay, so it'll actually, it's written in plain English, and this is kind of like a diary, I suppose. So what's data migration? What is it? How does it work? How do we plan for it? And what happens when we actually put it to the test. Right, so why would I stand up here? Well, on Screen Pages earlier this year, we had an enterprise client who said, yeah, okay, let's migrate from 1 to 2. Let's do it. Okay, I said, that's great. So there's some of the stats. Okay, it's a nice sized database. So we were quite excited. So right, so let's go. So the project kicked off. Obviously, you know, the data migration side was the hot topic. And Magento give us a data migration tool, right? I did try one other, it crashed, and I went, well, I don't care about that now. I'm going to stick with the data migration tool. This is Magento. So this talk is based all about Magento's data migration tool. Just a quick question, quick show of hands. How many people here have actually run the data migration tool? Okay. Right, here we go. Interesting, not too many. Okay, so how does it work, right? RTFM, read the fantastic manuals. And, well, in this case, they're actually quite good, but do take your time. Read it a couple of times. You know, you'll miss the little bits of it. But essentially, the data migration tool is split into 3 parts. So we've got the configuration settings, data, delta, incremental. And I'll explain those a bit further when we a bit further on. Right? So in the guide is this beautiful chart, and it's, you know, you look at it and you go, oh, it's going to be easy. And one part of that, the early step, prep work, I've picked out 2 important parts here. Third-party extensions and migration dry runs. Okay, with third-party extensions, you've got to start thinking, or, you know, even your own custom modules. You know, oh, data, right, so how do I get data from 1 to 2? It's part of your early planning. And the second one is migration dry runs. Really, really important. And if you're quoting for a project, please allow a lot of time for that, because you need to do a lot of dry runs. Okay, so here's the normal stuff. Composer, there's a lot of text, try not to read it. The usual Composer install. Where does it go? Vendor Magento data migration tool, and then you navigate down to the version you're coming from, and inside that you've got your main config file, map XML file, and then further down you've got the mapping files for each step. Okay, I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but the main config file, you've got the, well, make note of the 3 main steps, and then you've got all the general options down at the bottom, like defining your source, destination, and crypto1 key. Okay, and there's an example, XML config file, destination, source, and the map files. When you install it, there'll be .dist, and you just rename it the files you need. Okay. So, to run it, settings, so that is our stores, websites, core config data. Right, that's pretty quick, you know, less than a minute, you should be okay there. The next step is the beast, right? This is the beast. So this is going to do pretty much everything else. If this runs first time for you, you can take the rest of the day off, right? The last step, so after data step, you've got an interesting step here called delta or incremental. So the idea is your Magento 1 store can keep functioning, and you kick this off and it'll just listen away and it'll pick up changes, okay? Interesting idea. So planning the data migration. Well, we set up a brand new Magento 1, a brand new Magento 2, did lots of data stuff. We knew all our test data, and it all worked, so great. So that was encouraging. So then, what's the best plan of attack? Well, the guides will give you lots of notes on that, but if there's one thing, you've got to start testing early. You don't really know what you're going to meet. You know, you've got that beautiful flow chart, but it doesn't always quite work out like that, okay? Take backups, that's an important one. They recommend you take a copy of your M1 source. Are we happy so far? Okay. This guy was doing the fundamentals of Magento 2 Dev online course. Although that kind of looked like me after the workshop last night. Right, so let's go. So the fun begins. So we've got a 1.13.02. Sorry, am I blocking you guys out? Maybe I'll stand over here this time. So here we go. So we have a 1.13.2 to 2.1.0. Settings, yeah, migrated fine, no problem. Data, okay, we're going to hit problem. Right? So, you know, we all have third-party extensions. We all have our own custom modules that have made database changes. Okay? The first part of the data step is going to do all these integrity checks. Right? Remember, Magento is only concerned with it only knows about its own data. So it's going to start, you know, telling you about stuff that it doesn't know about in the source and destination. So it'll list it all very nicely for you. And so you got source, destination, some fields. So fields in its existing, in its core tables, it doesn't understand, and destination fields, okay? So they can all be fixed in your map XML file. Great, okay? Here's just another example of the sales mapping. You know, we've all had to integrate in with sales or you know, extend it, but yeah, so you can fix that through map sales. That's just an example. This here is a little script, a handy little script. You can literally copy and paste the error you get in your terminal into this little script, and it'll put it into the XML format that you just throw back into the map files. It's quite useful because then you got no typos. Right, so after all the mappings are fixed, off we go again, okay? So we run the data step command again. It will start from its last known success point, okay? Now you can start it from the beginning again by putting in a -- reset. If you do that, it's recommended you bring back a backup of your Magento 2 destination to avoid duplication. Right, this happened a bit further on. A bit scary, this one. Duplicate emails in the same store. Okay, not sure how they got there, but we're not too worried now because we're moving on. You can just go back to the source and delete them, and off we go again. But at least the migration tool picked it up. Right, so then we hit a bang. So we, it gave us this obscure error. We did a little bit of digging, and it's something to do with EAV, okay? So we went, okay, well, what's the story with EAV attribute, okay? We looked at the source. It had over 800 rows in the EAV attribute table. I'm going, that's not a normal 1.13.02 install. Okay, so it's been an upgrade. So it was upgraded from a 1.5 or 1.6 or something. You know, so what do? Are we going to try and shoehorn all this data across? Well, if we looked at the core source to the core destination, you know, the first 150, nothing matches. So, and we've got our, you know, Magento 2 site, it's kind of up and running, we've got extensions in, it's coming on nicely. Are we going to wreck it all now by trying to get all this data in? Well, massive rethink. It's time to be data smart, okay? So we want clean data. We don't want junk. You know, let's review our source database. Maybe the stuff we just don't want to bring across. So big review there, you know. So rather than this, you know, hitting and hoping on the data step and going, oh, everything can come across, I won't worry about it now. Well, let's take control of it. Let's you know, avoid that junk. So I think this was a blessing it failed. Right, so it's time to keep calm and be data smart, okay? My original slide for this was, can you imagine if Donald Trump had bought Magento a year ago? He would have said, let's make Magento great again. But he didn't, thankfully. So, let's be data smart. So these are the decisions we made. EAV is not going to come across. Catalog products, okay? So this was a Magento 2 rebuild. It was a redesign as well. So the client was, you know, a new category structure. They were revisiting products, things like imagery, stuff like that. So why would we migrate that stuff across? And there was, you know, dozens of attributes in there they no longer used. So, hey, great, we're not going to bring that across either. Reviews, simple, we can export from one and re-import in two through extensions. Quotes ignored, CMS pages and blocks, they're part of the redesign. Wish lists ignored. So we actually ended up with just customers, newsletters, sales orders. That's all we needed. So the fact that we didn't bring across EAV, to stop EAV coming across, then you go back into your main config file and you can just comment out the steps, the bits you don't need, right? But not bringing EAV, kind of, okay, so what do we do? We've got our staging, we've imported our products now, client is starting to come in, do a bit of work, this is nice. When we want to run our migration step, well, okay, we can't do it here now because we're not bringing across EAV or products and stuff like that. So we create an intermediate one. So we create a migration database, and we run the data migration tool into here, and then we just copy the tables we need, and it works. So this might be the wrong way of doing it, but it worked for us. Anyway, so it worked, but we had a few tweaks to make, okay? Because we didn't copy EAV, there's a few little issues around things like, so customer EAV. We've all got third-party integration, so some kind of a customer number. In our source, the attribute ID was 987. In our destination, because we haven't touched EAV, we've let Magento 2 just be itself, it was 177. So there is a little bit of data fixing to go on, but once you start doing it, okay, maybe it feels a bit hacky, but once you do it once, you feel fine about it. So, the other thing we decided not to do was the migration, the settings, because our store views were changing. We were getting rid of an old mobile theme store, and another store was moving down into a new website. So why should we bring across all these settings when we don't really need them? And God only knows what the customer changed. They probably changed loads of things at the wrong scope and all that stuff. And most importantly, it gave us a chance to learn Magento 2 admin panel. So we didn't bring across settings either. Important step, this is an important one. How long did that data step take? It took 16 minutes, about the same length as this talk. But it taught us one thing. Okay, well, for our go live deployment, the holding page is going to be up for a certain length of time. We don't need the incremental step anymore because the data step is so quick. Right, so a few other little things that didn't quite work with the migration tool. The sequence, the increment ID didn't quite work out too well. So there's a new table in Magento 2 called sequence order store ID. So you've got to make sure that's past the old live increment ID. What else have we got? Yeah, if you've got prefix, these are the new tables to go in and have a look. Because we had a shake-up of store views, okay, some of the data didn't quite match up. Might have been a mistake, but it's something to be aware of. So finally, what about products and categories? Sorry, I had to put that in there. I'm from Ireland. Good things come to those who wait. So for products, what do? We exported from Magento 1, and we re-imported using Magento 2's product import. Okay, be aware, the product import is different in Magento 2. A welcome change is it's one row per product, which is great. But our client had configurable products with lots of children, okay? It leads to quite a complicated column here called configurable variations. But you can write a little script to do that for you. What else? Product ID, okay? What about sales orders? You just copied across. The product IDs probably won't match up. No, they don't. And we set it off past the last of the source because the client never reorders the same product. You can still see them in the admin panel, and the customer can still see their whole orders. They just won't be able to reorder it. So we got lucky there. Finally, the configurable dropdown attributes. So things like color, size. You need to have all the values in the admin panel before you do a product import, okay? Here's a tip. Have a look at how the sample data modules work, okay? In there you've got example CSV files. You've got example code of how they actually install it. We actually copied, I don't know. Yeah, we used the code, and we created a Magento 2 little module to run in the admin panel so the actual customer can import these values. It's quite useful. Reviews, yeah, we had an extension on one that exported the exact format that we needed for the importing. Okay, right, so in summary, think data smart. Allow plenty of time, plan well ahead. There are no two Magento one sides the same. And if I may say one thing at the end here, the Magento team are human too. I know it's very easy to be negative, but I think we have a lot to be positive about. Okay, do you remember this? Okay, I can happily announce that the lady who saw me that day has happily been my mother-in-law for 10 years. So there you go. If I can finish with one thing, and it's an Irish toast. If we drink, we get drunk. If we get drunk, we fall asleep. If we fall asleep, we do not sin. If we do not sin, we go to heaven. So let's get drunk and go to heaven. Thank you.